Yeah, so good morning. And first of all, thank you to Nadesh and Margot for their invitation to give to this talk and all attendees to be present. And I would like to provide you all with my perspective, particularly to candidates, in order to help prepare your application proposal for this year's call. And before that, let me please explain you briefly about my background, where I come from. I started in 2012 an international experience of a few years, and I have visited Portugal, UK, and Italy as a student and as a researcher before moving to Belgium. And I have conducted both research and non-research activities and work experience with high responsibilities as well in my country, Spain. And 2 years ago, I decided that it was the right time to explore new challenges and expand my horizons with a postdoctoral fellowship. And exactly on this month, 2 years ago, I discovered the offer for the Marie Curie Postdoctoral 2021 call under the title Exploring New Analytical Frontiers in the Characterization of Micro and Nanoscale Non-Metallic Particles. And I applied as many other offers, and I held an interview with my today's teamwork and colleagues. And after this successful interview, I became an official applicant for VITO. And this adventure started in May 2021 for the following 5 months with a proposal to be composed, a deadline in October that year. And the new challenge was, as you can imagine, enormous. Formerly, my previous expertise was related in the very beginning, 10 years ago, with fingerprints, fire analysis, explosions, toxicology, and forensic topics as a student. Later on, metal and metal oxide nanoparticles as a doctoral candidate, and food items, food supplements, cosmetics as a professional worker, both in research and non-research activities. Therefore, it was necessary to fit all these aspects in a proposal to be composed during those months. Some of these implications would be taken into consideration, and some others not directly, but perhaps yes, in another way, which is drives us to the famous soft skills that also need to be enhanced during your project in case of being accepted for a Marie Curie. And initial brainstorming sessions were necessary to narrow the subject from a broad headline, because analytical frontiers sounded quite open and abstract, in fact. And the idea was weakly focused on electrophoresis, a technique on which I gained expertise during my doctorate, and on microplastics, a recently concerning topic since the last decade. And from that time, we had 5 months left and a deadline to compose a proposal from the template. Several meetings as a consequence needed to be arranged in order to give shape to a new research idea that sounded ambitious and at the same time needed to be materialized. On the one hand, my expertise on the analytical technique was going to be of use to conduct innovative research in a topic still not treated by means of these methodologies. And on the other hand, I needed to move from metal compounds to non-metallic ones, which meant one of the biggest challenges, because the certainty, or also known as comfort, related with metals needed to be substituted for the uncertainty of the plastics. In short, a new and unexplored branch. The rest of challenges needed to be regarded as an opportunity rather than a difficulty, even if both components are always present, as we all are conscious. The main purpose of this talk is that is useful and practical for you all as applicants. And before addressing one by one the 3 criteria for this part B1 previously mentioned, Let me tell you that, and once more, we emphasize on the necessity to follow the templates available on the code website, not to start from a blank sheet, which is already an important step, and to respond to every headline and subheadline proposed on this document. These headlines cannot be ignored, and of course, this relevance cannot be minimized, and they are also helpful to focus your proposal. There is need for targeting and addressing sections and subsections separately to enhance success probability. Now, the main question in this talk would be, what would I suggest for a successful proposal? Perhaps still an open question after this session. Next, let's try to provide specific examples. Regarding criterion 1, which is called excellence, I would recommend to write an introduction of maximum 1 page, which needs to be concise, and highlights the general concerns to be tackled, an overview of the whole project, and big research questions, 2 or 3, posed for the first time and to be answered throughout the project. Significance of your proposal as well, why it is relevant. Therefore, all these aspects may be summarized, and I would advise to compose a figure, a comprehensive illustration, summarizing the overall strategy, because it is the first visual and also positive impact that an evaluator will receive when starting to read. And it is strategic from my point of view that this figure is placed on the first page. Other important elements are keywords, sentences in bold, and societal relevance and importance for the project, how the society will be benefit at this point, and also this aspect could be further developed during the proposal. As regards objectives, these need to comply with several requirements, and let's summarize that need to be ambitious, feasible, well-defined, and also credible. Credibility is a key word when defining the new objectives, and research needs to go beyond what is feasible now. In other words, not anticipated by previous work and updating the state of the art. We can summarize in research beyond research. At this moment, we can start to elaborate the proposed methodology in detail, taking into account all challenges and planning what routes to select once facing these challenges. Therefore, firstly, I would recommend to summarize the main tasks or research objectives to be addressed with key sentences and start handling one by one deeply. This is the first time that we will need to provide details, because for now we have mentioned general aspects. How the research will be conducted, what techniques will be of use, what variables we will consider and optimize, abbreviations with full name for the first time that they are mentioned, and also collaborations if applicable and could be beneficial, because cooperation is likely to add an extra value to the proposal. Also, multidisciplinary involvements are always appealing. These aspects need to be fit and give an added value and an extra training to you if this is the case for your proposal. In this first excellence criterion, I would also like to highlight the importance to consider gender dimension and diversity aspects. Also, open science practices in order to make data publicly available, and any opportunity for engagement expected from society, or at least awareness in the public opinion derived from your research. Another important point is to highlight supervisors' expertise, your expertise, how they both fit and give feedback to each other in the proposed project, how the host institution will train you in skills you may lack from your previous experience, and how you will transfer your knowledge to the host institution for its growth and progress, which is, in brief, the two-way transfer of knowledge. This aspect needs to be clarified from one side and the other. And the aspiration in this first section is to score as much as possible, and the limit is 5 points, so the effort to be made is considerable. As regards criterion number 2, which is impact, these sections needs to comprise how credibly your project will enhance your professional perspectives, either within academia or in the industry sector. This aspect will depend on the host institution and your skill development that you are seeking. In any case, both technical skills and soft skills are essential and needed to be enhanced during the period that the project is being carried out. It is remarkable also to highlight how you will communicate your results to peers or people unfamiliar with your topic. And in this sense, I would advise to provide specific conference names for research environments and fair or media engagements for the public opinion. Because the dissemination plan, as you can imagine, is essential for fulfilling the impact criteria, because the impact both for researchers working in your field and society needs to be as large as possible. Other relevant aspects for the impact criterion is how you will establish links and contacts during your project, even if it is an individual one for you as a candidate and also for the institution. Therefore, you may mention international colleagues to be contacted, well-renowned experts in your area, the networking also with the industry, and the possibility to cooperate with other researchers even within your institution. These skills are appreciated when searching for employment opportunities, and in one way or another need to be enhanced during your project, and also for your professional career, they will be beneficial. I would also advise that you separately address the impact of your project on science, society, and economy, and attempt, if possible, to address these three branches separately in dedicated paragraphs, even if they may be closely related to a certain degree. And the objective, once more, is to score as much as possible, up to 5 points for this section. Regarding implementation, which is criterion number 3, I would advise to compose a work plan in a table with a light color or at least gray tone to illustrate how you will develop main tasks, specific ones, and estimated execution time for them. These activities may be structured in work packages on a general basis, which are advisable to be defined prior to any detail. And for each work package, milestones and deliverables need to be placed in the correct way to be realistic and consistent between each other. Therefore, you will address from the more general, which is work packages, to the more specific ones, which are deliverables, as in by tasks and milestones. To compose the foreseen periods for your project, I would advise to prepare a Gantt chart, or at least a timeline diagram, to place milestones and deliverables in an illustrative way with specific numbers and time period to be completed. This is also an important aspect. A contingency plan, or at least a risk assessment for both research and administrative tasks, is beneficial for your proposal because it will assess how probable these risks are to occur and how it is foreseen to cope with each specific contingency if applicable. Therefore, it is advisable to anticipate the risks and how to deal with them in case they come in front of us. The last subheading is the appropriateness of the host institution for your project development and why this institution is the best in relation with any other. This is, in brief, what makes it different to conduct your desired research at the selected host institution, and no other one is more appropriate for this purpose. Therefore, specific words on infrastructure and equipment, if applicable, apart from human resources and staff and well-trained personnel, is recommendable to be addressed at this point. And as in the two previous cases, the maximum score to be achieved is 5 points. Therefore, we have summarized all important aspects to be fulfilled for a successful proposal. And from now, it is your choice how to consider these tips. In any case, I hope to have relaxed your concern as much as possible after this talk. And don't forget to keep the proposal yours, because it is your story, your research, and your personal style, which is the soul of your proposal. In any case, we will have time afterwards to address your questions, also with my contact details underneath. And meanwhile, best of luck for everybody.